You joined me at a BMW main dealer where I had no choice but to bring my car here to fix a major overheating issue.
In my last video, you would have seen that we successfully managed to reinstall a reconditioned turbo.
Oh no.
The test drives that followed were particularly alarming due to the excessive levels of smoke pouring from the exhaust. This was due to the old oil that was sitting within the cat and the back box burning away, making it look way more catastrophic than it actually really was. This was the longest I'd managed to run the car for, revealing a new issue. The car was now overheating. At time the coolant reached 122 degrees Celsius, meaning that the test drives had to be cut short. With no local mechanics wanting to touch the i8, I had no choice but to visit BMW.
My car has been here for the past 3 days and I have a huge bill to go along with it. But let me jump in the car and tell you what exactly I have had done.
Hello there, sir. It's Andy from BMW in Tamworth, technician looking at your vehicle this afternoon. Spent the hour diagnosis, just over, about an hour and 20 minutes, just looking at the items that you've described on your vehicle. One of them being the wastegate controller, which is not accepting the values when you do the calibration. You just see up at the rear here, you can see the arm with a little bit of red paint on, goes to the turbo arm. This is actually really tight as it is at the moment with the ignition off. Normally they've got a bit of slack in them, but you can actually replace the wastegate actuator and see if it calibrates again afterwards. The engine's not very healthy, it's not running very smoothly, it has got signs of engine knocking, and also when it's running it's emitting blue smoke. More than likely that would require either further investigation, an engine strip, or maybe possibly replacement components or an engine itself. For me today, the actual door latch has closed every single time and shut correctly. If that is something that's becoming a problem, I can't see anything externally on the vehicle. The actual door latch catch itself looks in good condition, and the latch on the top, it would just require a replacement latch assembly in the door. 2mm left on your brake pads, so really you require a set of brake pads. I can see the cords of the tyre straight through in there, so that requires a replacement tyre. It's now illegal and would fail an MOT. And again, unfortunately, this tyre has got cut in the tread, and I can see the cords of the tread in there, so that requires a replacement tyre as well.
That's right, my car has been at BMW for the past 3 days. Now, annoyingly, I booked this car in for a simple coolant bleed, as that's what I thought the issue was with my car overheating. Unfortunately, BMW won't just do that. They need at least an hour's diagnostic at £150 an hour, which I'm not happy about, but I had to pay it. But the bill and the health check right here, my total bill was £1,657, which really hurts me, especially because I don't like bringing my cars to dealers, let alone main dealers, because I like to save as much money as possible and be as kind of productive as possible by working on cars myself. If there's any kind of money to be saved, I will do it, and if there's anything on a car, I will usually give it a go. But with things like the coolant overheating, I thought it's best to be safe and get a guarantee and get the guys from BMW to sort it. But also, I wouldn't have been able to diagnose a faulty water pump or thermostat, so it's probably a good job I bought it here in the first place. I'm just letting the car idle before I go, but already the coolant temp seems like a much healthier rate. When I was test driving it in my previous video, it was going all the way up to about 115 at one point, so I had to cut the test drive short, but it all seems to be running quite well. The only issue I'm experiencing is a slight tick from the engine. I don't know if you can hear it, but that could just because the car needs to clear itself of all the oil, because obviously I couldn't run it for long enough previously because of the overheating. So maybe that will fix itself, or maybe I'm going to go with the injectors, because when you put a screwdriver up to them and you have a little listen, it sounds like the injectors are a little bit tappy. So it wouldn't surprise me if they'd gone slightly dirty or gone bad. So it's worth a test on those as well. Okay, driving it home, good news, it's not overheating. More good news, it's not producing white smoke anymore. Bad news, it's producing blue smoke, and a lot of it. Hence why I've pulled over. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, for God's sake. So we have got a lot of white smoke. Well, it's white at the minute. When I drive, it's very blue. And also the engine bay smoking as well. I can see it in my mirror. Now, I assumed this was because obviously it needed to clear all of that old oil from the turbo. But now I'm not convinced, and BMW did advise it is blowing blue smoke. And I was like, no, it'll be fine. It just needs to clear itself. But I mean, there's no one behind me now, so let me try and... Oh, here comes a car. I've got to try and drive home without covering everyone in smoke, which is proving very difficult. But also, it seems to be when it's like under load. I'll show you what I mean. Right then, the car did actually make it home, and as you saw from that previous footage, the car was putting out a lot of blue smoke. However, at the time I was fearing the worst, thinking it could be valve stem seals or maybe piston rings. But I've got a bit of a theory. I think it's just the car burning that old oil from the cat and the exhaust. It only happens on the car when it is really hot. It hasn't happened during my 10-minute commute to work. But also, whilst the car has been back, I've not only fixed the indicator in this driver's door mirror, which involved a new mirror cap from BMW at £120. As you can see, I'm completely missing this door card, and that is because, as you have seen in my previous videos, I've had an issue with this lock, and that is where I have been ripped off once again by BMW. Now, I know there is an American YouTuber called Sam who was able to fix his door latch by 3D printing one and fitting a motor. However, I don't have access to a 3D printer. I did try and replace the motor with a new one, but it just, well, I don't know if it didn't work because my little tab snapped. Now, despite me super gluing it back together and heating it up with a soldering iron, no matter how many times I installed it to this car, it just kept snapping. So I had no choice but to spend £400 at BMW on a new door lock, which really hurt the bank and my sanity. Now, as you can see in these videos, I first tested the original motor using a 9-volt battery, and it seemed to work quite well and seemed to be very powerful. But I'd purchased a new one from eBay for £11, which was ever so slightly shorter, but I thought I may as well give it a go. However, like I mentioned, that piece had snapped, therefore I wasn't able to test out the lock. This is the piece I snapped on my old one, which is incredibly tiny and brittle looking, so fingers crossed that doesn't happen. But this whole job is quite a faff, so let's dive in, shall we? Attempting to fit this door latch was a pain. I first attempted to install the latch with this rod piece installed. This was tricky as once the latch was in its tight and narrow space, I couldn't see where I needed to push the latch into. You could see this white plastic piece that the rod actually pushes into and secures into place. Once the latch was in location, I couldn't see this white piece, so I wasn't actually able to pull this thin rod and push it into where it needed to be. You can see the little white clip here, which I actually managed to remove from the inside of the door. My theory here was maybe I could attach this to the rod and install it all in one with the lock at the same time. However, this was near impossible. As the rod had gone through the white piece, it caused it to expand, which usually would secure this to the car. After a few hours of fiddling around, I then decided to revert back to my original plan. First install the rod to the inside of the door first, and then attempt to get the lock into position and secure it through the little circular piece that I had previously snapped off on my old lock. After a few hours of trying to gather my thoughts and my sanity, and a few rude words later, I thought I was onto a winner just for me to install the door latch, put my hand up and pull out that rod. At this point I was feeling pretty deflated, but I decided to give it one more go, this time installing the rod once again to the door lock. I somehow managed to look through the tiny gap in the door and I was able to push the rod into its housing within the door latch. All I needed to do then was to reinstall the door card, making sure that I plugged everything in, and reinstall the 3 bolts that secure the door card to the door. Finishing off by reinstalling this piece of trim which actually houses the door release button from the inside. Right. It's not even on, it's dead. I can't even put into words how much of a that was. Trying to put that little rod in, trying to get it so it went up inside the clip and then the clip came round and get it into the other end of the lock without it falling out. Honestly, it was a nightmare. And now it's the moment of truth. Has this fixed the issue? Was the old lock even the issue in the first place? Have I put everything back together? Right, so let's close the door. You're joking. You are joking.
You are joking. You are joking me. You are kidding. No, you're having a laugh. Oh. Oh. Did I just get lucky? Hang on, hang on. I have fixed it. No, don't get ahead of yourself. Don't get ahead of yourself. This could just be a fluke. It worked a couple of times before, but never like this. I'm maintaining that in a minute, this just isn't going to work. But it's working every single time. Oh my goodness me. Yes! Oh my God, it's closed. Oh. Oh my God. Finally. As you can probably tell, I am absolutely beside myself. Like, obviously it should work. I've just spent 400 quid on a new lock, but the faff of getting it in, what if I hadn't put it in right? What if that rod had fallen out whilst I put the door car back on? And then when it was just doing the exact same thing then, I need to have a word with BMW because that was so stupid of a job. My door works. Get in! That is where I'm going to end this week's video. Despite its faults, I'm really enjoying the journey that I'm on with the i8, and it means a lot to me that you guys are enjoying the content too. If you found this episode entertaining, please do make sure you give it a like and make sure you hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss out on future episodes with this car. Thanks for watching.